Alright, guys. I'm just a person. I just decided to record a video today. I've been thinking about it all week. It's been a crazy week. There was Wednesday. Wednesday was the 10th. That was a crazy day. Then there was Thursday, the 11th, obviously, which was the 24th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. And thousands of Americans lost their lives on American soil. It was a tragedy. It was horrible. And people always say, always remember, never forget. I wasn't there, and I like to think that I understand and I know what we're remembering. But the truth of the matter is, if you weren't there, you can't understand it in the same way as someone that was. You don't know how they felt seeing those buildings go up in smoke on the TV. You don't know the feeling of fear that they felt going home and wondering if they were safe or anything else like that. You don't know how the unity felt the next day when we all mourned together as Americans. It didn't matter if you were a Democrat, if you were a Republican, if you were a man or a woman, if you were Christian or Jewish or atheist. We just all mourned together. And like I said, I wasn't there, so I can only imagine. But on Wednesday, I started to understand just that much more how everyone might have felt on 9/11, because once again, American blood was spilt on American soil, and a man lost his life, a wife lost her husband, 2 beautiful children lost their father. Many of us lost a friend or a role model or just someone we heard of on the news. It doesn't matter. He died, and that was not okay. And I've thought about it all week, and I've come to the point that I can also mourn for the young man who lost his life to murder, to becoming a murderer. He didn't die. He's still alive, but Wednesday was the day that he let his anger take control of his life, and he decided to fire a shot that killed someone and lost him the rest of his life, because now he's being accused of murder, and that's huge, and I can only imagine what his family is going through. And that's hard. That's so hard to imagine. I relate to Charlie Kirk in a lot of ways. He has very similar politics to me, very similar political beliefs. We worship the same God. We're both Americans. And if you can't relate on multiple or any of those bases, then he's a human. There's one thing. He has a family. There's another thing. And I look up to him so much because he stood up for what he believed, and he died doing that. And that is huge to me. Now, there were a lot of people that I saw or know personally that don't agree with his politics, don't really like him as a person or anything like that, but they mourned his death, and they see it as a tragedy, which it is. And I look up to them greatly for that, because it's a hard thing to look across political lines and be able to see a situation for what it is, but they did that, and that's huge. There were other people that celebrated it and called for more death and put targets on people's backs. That is not okay. It breaks my heart to see it happening, because in the spirit of 9/11, I hope we can remember that people died on both sides. And at the end of the day, and the next morning, and for the days after, the sides didn't matter. Death was death. Mourning was mourning. Loss was loss. And I wonder if those people remember the regular everyday folks that just got up to go to work that morning and never came back home. Or the people that were on Flight 93 that they knew it was the end, and so they charged the cockpit. They took their own flight down. They committed suicide, essentially, to hopefully save more lives. Or the people who charged into the burning buildings that didn't know anyone that was in the Twin Towers. They were just there to help, and thousands of hundreds probably, I don't know how many, lots of first responders lost their lives to hopefully save people that they didn't know. Might have been Democrats, might have been Republicans, might have been libertarians. It doesn't matter. What matters is we're all Americans, and we're all humans. And I hope that in the spirit of 9/11, we can truly remember, and we can mourn for a death of an American, because death is death, no matter what side it's on. And I hope that I can always remember 9/11 for what it was, even though I wasn't there. And I hope that we can remember Charlie Kirk's death for what it was, as a horrible tragedy, something he did not deserve, and that his family did not deserve. And I hope that we can learn from it, and I hope we don't have to be reminded again soon what 9/11 was about, and we can move forward as Americans, not as enemies.